During historic floods 1 year ago, 3 men disappeared from a homeless encampment. The bodies of Juan Carlos Sierra Campos and Isais Serna were soon found in Lake Michigan and the Kinnickinnic River. Miguel Flores is still missing. Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel reporter Gina Castro reported on the men last year, and last week in a follow-up story, she talked with the men's families to understand how the losses are still impacting them today. She spoke with WUWM's Jimmy Gutierrez about her story.
When I think about the August 9th flood, I remember cars being submerged in the water. I remember basements being flooded. I just remember being just shocked by how much water came. In Bayview, underneath a bridge near a pretty sweet trail, there's a well-known encampment that's been there well over a decade. It's added to at least 3 different homeless outreach groups I've spoken with. It's added to their route. And that night I've heard from a couple homeless outreach volunteers, they estimate maybe 5 people were there that night. And the river is so close to the encampment. It's like you have to crouch to get underneath where the men were staying at, and they have their mattresses laid out. And the river swelled to 17 feet high. And the next day, one of the first men was found in Lake Michigan near Discovery World. A couple days after that, Isais was found, and Miguel Flores, who's from there, hasn't been found yet.
I mean, you do an incredible job both reporting on this last year, but you also get into, with the men, is that they all came here from Honduras or from Guanajuato looking for something better, like looking for this idea of the American dream. And I don't want you to generalize, but there is a common thread with the men's stories as far as what happened. And I just want to ask you, from your point of view, reporting what happened to these men, that they all came here looking for the same thing, but at the end of the day, they ended up underneath the same bridge.
To speak generally, I've never heard this story before. I've heard so many stories of people who worked so hard, came from nothing, came to this country with dreams, and it works out. I never heard about them getting lost along the way or not being able to overcome their coping systems and dying.
So this is a story about these 3 men and their families and kind of like the struggles that they went through over the years, over the decades. But this is also about so much more that you get into. You get into homelessness, addiction and resources that don't exist. We talk about immigration. And then we ultimately talk about whose life is worth tracking and worth counting and whose isn't. So what can be taken away after reading this tragedy? What are we left with? What were you left with?
Addiction is just so challenging. I love to read memoirs and how people try to overcome them. And so much of that decision to get sober is from that individual. They have to make that choice for themselves and decide that they want something different. And that was what I was hearing a bit from the Serna family, the nephews and niece of Isais. They would tell him consejos, advice, to get sober, get your life in order, go to Alcoholics Anonymous, talk about your feelings, confront the shame you're feeling, and talk it out. He just wasn't there yet. People sometimes need more time to overcome that. But something that the family was saying that they want to do different is among their family, with their siblings, they're going to talk things out. They want to, work through their emotions and their troubles together and that be their coping mechanism. But they also hope that the city, the police, or these homeless outreach organizations, volunteers will also go by these encampments and inform people about how cold the weather is or whether a flood's coming because they don't have phones, giving them the flood warning notification that I got on my phone that night. Care for people in the community and care about the people around you.
That was Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel investigative reporter Gina Castro. She talked with WUWM's Jimmy Gutierrez about her story following up on the missing men from last August's flood. Find Gina's story at jsonline.com.